you, Fallon, and welcome. I'm so glad all of you are spending your evening with us. We have our beautiful studio here in Daytona Beach, Florida, and we are live with you in Empire as well as on our Instagram and Facebook. So today we are going to be talking about how you finish 2024 successfully and step into 2025 with a prosperous business plan. Let's get started. Now, as you are going through, please make sure that you have your pen and paper handy and take notes because we're going to go very, very fast. We have just about 50 minutes of content and then a little bit of Q&A so that you can have your year end successfully and set yourself up for a prosperous new year. As always, we love to give first. So our first gift to you this evening is our book. So Dory Sukup, our founder, has been in business for the last 24 years, just a little shy of Empire, so we're the younger sister. And Dory just wrote her latest book, Medical Aesthetic Success. So we're gonna drop the link in the chat. My entire team is here answering your questions, making sure you have the support you need. So please download that book, and that's also gonna set you up for a fabulous new year. Now, this is what we are going through this evening. So as you go through the different sections, please engage with us in the chat and let us know, this is my challenge. I have a question here so that we can get you solid in your financial safety and health for 2024 and into prosperity and profits for 2025. So let's get started. We always love to start with a chat poll. So I want to know, where are you right now? Are you prospering? That means I am thriving. So put a number 1 in the chat if you are thriving. You are exactly where you wanted to be this year, reaching or exceeding your goals. And then I want you to put a number 2 in the chat if you haven't quite the goal that you want to reach. So 1, if you are thriving, and 2, if there's still a little bit of ways to go for the last 6 weeks of the year. Now, if you haven't watched, and we did this for all of you with Empire as well as our members just a few weeks ago, if you haven't watched the Marketing for Your Holidays webinar, I encourage you to watch that and go back to that. I hope all of you have already secured your Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, and Cyber Monday promotions, as well as your 12 days of Christmas. And guys, if you haven't done so, you need to watch the webinar and give us a call because this is the time where you're going to finish the year off successfully. You want to make sure you have all your promotions already pre-posted so that you're building the momentum because your clients are already spending dollars and time. And if you don't have yourself top of mind for them and have yourself pre-planned, you're already behind the 8 ball. Last year, one of our top members, Estique, just did over $300,000 of business with their Black Friday through 12 days of Christmas promotions. And you can do the same. So if you have not watched that and haven't put into place your holiday promotions, make sure you do that because tonight is about setting yourself up for looking back at the year and planning your next year's success. All right, so I've given you enough time. Where are we in the polls, guys?
We have one number 2.
All right, that means you are not yet taking your fingers out and typing into the chat. And I need you to be engaged because we're going through a lot of content. So usually where we have done a poll, we've already done our poll with our members because you should already be serving yours and we already surveyed ours. Many of our members, about 30–40% of them have achieved or exceeded their goals. And that's incredible. But they are some of the unicorns. So some of them have increased their business by 20–30%. Some are holding steady, but about 5–10% growth. And so that's about 40% of our members. And then about 60%, they're holding close to last year, or they still have a long way to go. And those are our newer members, or if they're newer in business. So as Empire members, some of you may still be thinking about opening, and some of you have just opened. We actually had a member just open 2 days ago and made their first $1,000 sales, so congratulations to them. But if that's the case for you, then this is really important to plan your year out next year so that you are successful as well. So that's what we're seeing. And yes, there's been a lot of change this year. We're going to go through that a little bit as well, but you're in the right place. All right, so let's talk about the industry. The wellness industry is a $1 trillion industry, and I have some of my statistics here. So it's a $6.3 trillion industry already. And in the medical spa sector, so this is all the different aspects of wellness, and the medical spa sector is also in the billions. It is a $33 billion industry in 2024. Now that encompasses medical weight loss and alternative medicine services for those of you that are doing IVs. It also encompasses personal beauty. That's another $1 billion right there. So there is business out there for you. Now, if you're thinking, well, how do I capture a piece of that? This strategies that we're going to be sharing tonight is going to help you with that. There's about 156 million visits. And guess what, guys? The average spend of a medical spa consumer in 2024 was $536. So are your clients giving you $536 every single time? That should be the minimum. We have members that are at $800, $1,200 as their average spend per visit. So when you put these systems in place, you're going to be able to achieve those as well. All right. Now, what's changed this year that we need to prep for next year? That's some of the factors that you want to plan for as you're setting yourself up for a prosperous new year. The first is demand. There is a new medical spa that is opening up down the street every single month, isn't there? The thing about that, though, is there's also a med spa that's closing its doors every single month. So how you position yourself and how you have your systems in place, we teach actually 4 things: systems, structures, strategies, and solutions. So when you have those things in place, you are going to be steady, building, and then thriving. But you have to have a plan. So we need to know what our positioning is against the competition. We also need to understand that there is increased demand. So it's a growing market. That means it's very easy to catch the wave. We just need to have a nice, beautiful surfboard. I'm from Hawaii, so we talk about surfboards. And there's increased technology. Now, many of you as medical professionals have very busy lives, and you're doing this so you don't buy another job. You're actually looking for a lifestyle. So make sure you're leveraging technology where it makes sense, from your EMR, your CRM. So EMR is your medical record system, your CRM, your marketing system, and then also making sure that you're leveraging AI technology so that you spend the time where you need to be doing, which is with your clients. And then you got to have a business model, right? So this is the foundation that we're going to be talking about for the 7 steps, but you have to start with an effective business model. Now, this is ours for you, but you have to take a client through a prospect and a lead all the way into a lifetime customer, or you're working harder and not smarter. So step number 1, do you have a financial checkup for your business? If you haven't been tracking all your finances month by month, this is your chance. So all of you should have QuickBooks, or at very least Excel systems. You should have a bookkeeper, but make sure you have your financial team, because I know numbers may not be your favorite subject, but this is how you measure success, is by knowing where you are and where you need to be. So first and foremost, do your checkup. And there are key financial ratios that you need to address. When you do so, you're going to be successful like Dr. Walters. Dr. Walters increased her business in just 1 year by 2,000%, over 2,000%. And she hit that 6-figure mark where she is making 7 figures, where she's making $1 million. She doubled her business in 1 year. And it was through following a system and actually tracking her numbers. When we first met her, she was saying, oh, I don't know what I made. I don't know how many clients, but I feel like I'm doing pretty well. And now every single week she meets with us. She sends her VPGs, which is her average volume per guest, her revenues, how many consultations she's had, And that's how she hit the 7-figure mark. And so can you. So have a financial plan and make sure you're leveraging these 4 areas. These are your financial ratios for health. So top in the middle is your revenue. Do you know what you're making every single month and what you're making every single year? And did you go according to your goal? Are you above, at, or below? Then what is your operating expenses? So your operating expenses is all of the rent, everything that you need even to open the doors, your rent, your syringes, et cetera, right? The next biggest is going to be your payroll cost. And this, you guys, has to be less than 25%, 25, 30%. If you're above 30%, this is very high. Many of you are paying too much for your injectors, for your providers, and you're not paying yourself as the owner. Now, if you're owner injector, you should have your pay in 2 separate categories. But your payroll costs need to be controlled, and we believe in a performance-based system. So as your business grows, so does your pocketbook for your team, and so is the health of your business. Once you've looked at those, then of course, what is the profit at the end of the day? And profit is after you've paid yourself, after you have paid your marketing costs, you've saved some for reinvestment and growth in the business. All of those factors are so important. And your profit really should be at least at 20%. So if you're not looking at a financially healthy structure, then please take a look, see where you're above those cost percentages, and then reach out to us and we can help. This is what I talked about a little bit earlier. So this is one of the key factors that you need to look at to understand, am I healthy? And we called it the VPG, or volume per guest. So it's very, very simple. You take your revenue, so 200,000 in this case, your number of clients, 300 per month, and then what is your divided factor or your average. So that would be $645 that every client coming in is paying you. And then that's separate from your retail. So your overall VPG per client or per visitor that comes in, they should be giving you $900. If you're averaging those kinds of numbers, you can be assured that most likely you have a healthy client business, and then it's a matter of volume. Do you know your break-even point, and are you achieving and exceeding your profit and your goals? All right, any questions on financial health before I move on? Yes.
So we have Stacy who's asking, how do I know how to pay my team members? I have a nurse, an esthetician, and a front desk person.
Yeah, that's a very good question. So as I said, we believe in a performance-based pay system. So you need to make sure, first of all, what is the competitive wage in your area? So you need to look at what's happening in your area by position. And you want to look at annual numbers. So oftentimes when an employee comes to you, they're thinking they need a specific hourly, especially if they're coming from hospitals, or they want to make a certain amount per client. And they're usually trained in percentages. But what you have to say is, what is the average annual income with ups and downs for that position? Then based on that, we need to create a base and bonus structure. So we do that by position. We have a whole program for that called the VPG. And you can actually go to our website. Tim, if you can drop in the chat, shop.inspirationmanagement.com. You can actually just get that portion or give us a call. We can help you. But each position is going to have a different pay structure. And then from there, you reverse engineer your prices for your treatments overall, and then your business plan. So that's a great question. All right. So next one is your marketing. And this is a hot topic, especially this year. I don't know how many of you guys are spending thousands of dollars on marketing with a marketing agency and not getting any leads. Well, that's partially because of positioning, but it's also because you're not using economical marketing strategies, the tried and true methods that are going to create the right leads for you so that you can convert them into lifetime clients. So you have to think, all right, what is my metrics? And this again is, you need to know your numbers. So how many leads are you generating every single month? Where are those leads coming from? the very first question you have to ask every client coming through the door, every phone call should be, how did you hear about us? I know it's such a simple question, but how many times are we on our phone calls and we say, okay, so what is your guest relations, your front desk team saying when they pick up the phone? Hi, how can I help you? No, that's not going to work, right? Aloha, thank you for calling XYZ Med Spa. This is Sharon, to whom do I have the pleasure of speaking? How did you hear about us? That's so important, so you know where your clients are hearing about you and you know where you should be continuing to invest and where you're missing the boat. All right. From there, what amount of the calls are actually converting, and they should be converting to get to know you consultations. Then you're going to know your cost per lead, and then how many clients acquired, the average revenue, and the lifetime value. Now, here's a big question I always get asked is, well, what's the right cost per lead? And there is good range of percentage of amounts that are average, but guess what? It actually doesn't matter how much that cost per lead is. It matters what is the revenue per client once you convert them. And then that backtracks into a proper cost per lead. So you don't have to worry about how much you're spending on marketing if your ROI, your return on investment, is 20 times what you've invested. All right? So just make sure you understand what is the process, what am I gaining from each client, and what did I spend on that advertising, and then you'll know what that cost is. And we have a whole marketing plan to help you work through that. But most importantly, you have to know who is your target client. And we teach a whole system called the TMSP system. It's how do you target, market, sell, and profit from the affluent consumer. Now, this is not just any consumer, because if you are playing the price war games and trying to go for the lowest cost Botox, you're gonna lose out. And those are the med spas that we see closing their doors every single month, unless they call us, right? So make sure you understand what is your positioning and differentiation. That's how you identify what your marketing strength is. How are you different from everyone else? It's not pricing, it's expertise. It's your background, it's your passion, it's who you hang out with. We just had a med spa in Canada, ID Cosmetic Clinic, and she has cornered the Asian market. So she's now publishing her first book so that she can establish that positioning, Dr. Shu. How else? Your experiences, your speed, your results. That's the most important thing. And if you have all of those metrics laid out successfully and you know what you stand for, then you can charge a premium. Why is Disney the happiest place in the world? Well, it's not just that, but their owners are the happiest because they can charge, if you have a private tour, $10,000 for one family. And there are people who happily pay for that. So they're not spending 2/3 of their day standing in lines, right? So what do you offer that is a luxury, unique experience, and therefore you can charge the premium? This is going to set you up for economic ups and downs, for competition, because nobody will be able to touch you if you have that unique positioning. And once you establish that content success, you can be just like Dr. John Omani. So actually, Dr. Omani purchased a struggling med spa in Sarnia, Canada. It was during the pandemic, and they actually took it from basically losing money to $3 million in 3 years. Now they're averaging over $75,000 just in retail every single month. And they did it through following the system. How do they position themselves? And guess what? They are in the basement parking lot. Okay, so it's not a beautiful entrance, but because of how they position themselves, now that's become the exclusive hideout for the affluent in Sarnia. So now it's kind of a fun way to go in and not be known and not be seen getting your work done. And you can do that too. So it's all in the positioning, you guys. Yes, question.
So I have, oh wait, Hello.
Hello.
I have Monica, who's not quite open yet. So she's asking, do you have an outline for what I should aim for or track for financials?
It's going to all depend on your business. But yes, we actually help you with a whole business plan. So we help you set up what you should be achieving. If you're in a suite, it's going to be different than if you're purchasing and renovating an 8-room location, right? We have someone that's building out a 5-room beautiful spa and wellness center. And we have someone that's just going into a suite. Actually, I don't know if all of you are following Ruma Aesthetics, but that's one of our big success clients. And she just started out in a suite and she hit her first $1 million working out of one suite. Now she's expanded and actually she's expanded twice. And she is now one of the experts in the industry as well. So it depends what your situation is in terms of your team, your physical location, and then we can help you build a successful plan. But great, great. And you also want to reverse engineer what modalities you do, your profits, all of that as well. So reach out to us and we can help. All right. So we've done our financial health assessment. We've done our marketing assessment and created our plan. I already gave you the tip at the beginning. If you haven't watched The Holiday, make sure you're doing so to end this year successfully. And now it's your sales. So a lot of people make the mistake of thinking marketing is sales. And it's two different things, you guys. So marketing is awareness. It's telling the story. It's getting eyeballs on your med spa. And then sales is your commitment and your delivery of service. Sales is asking, making a promise, I can help you, and delivering. So sign here, right? So what is your sales process, and are you following a process? The marketing helps you to establish your positioning. Then when you're selling, you need to reiterate your positioning. Now, how do you do that? By having your collateral out there, by having your success stories out there. That's going to help you sell, and that's the bridge between marketing and sales. And then it's the get to know you consultation. If you have not established a signature consultation experience, that's your biggest takeaway from tonight. So if nothing else matters tonight, the consultation experience is what you're going to set yourself up to finish this year successfully and start 2025. I just have a conversation it was a few months ago, but one of our members was averaging maybe about $600 per client. She thought she was doing pretty well. She's above the average. And then she changed her consultation process. And the very next week, her average sales was over $2,000. She closed a $9,000, a $7,000, and then a couple $1,000 sales. And it's because she established the get to know you consultation experience. After that, how is she positioning and how do you position a 3 to 6 month high ticket program? Then what are we doing every time they come in? So now they're on a program, but every visit is not the same, you guys. So if I come in one day for my Botox and maybe you upgrade me to fillers, well, the next time I'm here for my microneedling or my peel, I'm going to have different needs. I'm going to have different experiences as my skin starts to regenerate. So what are you going to offer me? And then how do you establish my loyalty by showing me your commitment and your unique positioning and what you can offer me? So it's all part of the process. Once you know you have that established, you can very easily and with conviction say, we are your only choice. So let's get started. And they will say yes. And so our systems, from how do you establish your recurring revenue, your upgrade, and your consultation process, just reach out to us so we can help you. But we've gone through this many times with our webinars with Empire as well. So take a look and then let us know where you are, establish that, and then set your plan of what you need to change and what you need to keep for 2025. And again, the consultation experience, it is about the process. So there are specific tools that you need. There's a specific area. I'd love to know actually, how many of you have a separate area for your consultation? So please let us know. If you don't have it and you're just doing it in a treatment room or when they're on the chair for their injectables, you're missing out because it's a different mindset, right? Your consultation experience needs to be more relational, almost like you're going to a financial advisor. This is your beauty advisor that you're positioning yourself as in the consultation experience. And it's before you're in the treatment room. Okay, so this is about understanding their desires, what vision they have for themselves, the problems, challenges they're facing. We have a question? Yes.
How do you feel about virtual consultations?
Virtual consultations are okay, but they don't replace in person. First of all, think about it yourself, right? If you've had an in-person experience or a virtual experience, which one was where you established relationships? And it's always going to be the in-person. So the same is true for your clients. You need to bring them in. They need to take a tour of your beautiful facility, and it should be beautiful. So it shouldn't just be, one room and then the rest of it not paid attention to. You need an experience area with refreshments, all of that. So you need to give them a tour. Then you need to sit them down, put your before pictures up on the wall, have them explain what's going on. And then you're going to write down a customized plan. That's going to allow you to build the trust, show your empathy, show your confidence and your enthusiasm for what's to come, and close. It's very hard to close on virtual because it's very easy for them to just go click, I'll call you back. Right? So I would use that as a backup, but definitely not the first. Good question. All right. And then I want you to think in multiple modalities. So as you're going through your sales audit for this year, I want you to pull down your report and show by treatment, what were your sales? And then by client, how many visits? If you find that your clients are just coming for one treatment, you're using your time ineffectively, right? So I want you to think in multiple modalities. We have a doctor that's writing a whole book, Dr. Lucy, about the exponential results by multiple modalities. So it's not just the revenue, which we have a whole calculator, and this will show how you can leverage the same amount of time, less clients, and higher profits and higher revenue. But it's not just that, it's the results, right? So having IV before Botox, what is the results? Especially before skin pen microneedling. Any of your lasers, right? How much greater is the benefit once your client is taken care of inside out, head to toe? I need to be thinking about that because if they're sagging in one area, better believe they're sagging in all other areas as well. And if they're not coming to you, they're going to somebody. So we need to open up the conversation and show them all the things that we can offer. I don't know how many times when we're coaching our members, they say, well, oh yeah, the clients always say, oh, I didn't know you did that. If we don't have the process that we're explaining and asking what they need and showing them, then that's the result that happens. All right. So think, what is my process? Where is my consultations happening? Because that's your biggest return on investment area and experience in your spa. And then how am I leveraging that time and thinking from a multimodality perspective? So Sarah Chrisman, she's actually, she used to work with us actually. So she knows, she's an ambassador of the brand. She understands the whole process. And she recently purchased her own med spa. And within the first month, she took a aesthetic practice. So it was a business. She bought an existing business and she took it and increased her aesthetic revenue by $67,000 and her retail by $7,000, almost $8,000. And it's by the consultation process. So if she can do it in her first month, so can you. Very, very easy. But you got to know where you are and you have to set your goal for where you want to be. All right. I love this one. So this is your guest experience. Now, you may think of your clients. We like to say clients or guests. You may think of them as patients. But you're no longer in just the medical industry. Your patients come in, they're sick, They're unhappy, they're unwell. Your clients and guests are coming in to be their best self, right? We have a member that's opening in, they're opening in 3 weeks, and they're looking to focus on transitions. So women with menopause, how do they thrive? And well, she's looking at her phrase of like, pause. She's having a lot of fun with it. But how can she make a time that's stressful, right? And possibly challenging for women and make it the best time of their lives, because this is when we should be having fun, when we have the disposable income to treat ourselves. Our kids are grown. That's an experience. So what does your experience in your clinic or medical spa look like? Are you focusing on it? Do you have an experience? What are the touch points? Where are the clients stressed out, worried, happy, considering someone else? All of those are opportunities to lock them in with you for a lifetime. So think about, what is a 5-star experience? And then I would actually shoot for a 7-star, a higher experience than that, so that you land at the minimum if a client's unhappy at a 4 or 5-star. When you do that, you're going to be successful. So audit your experience. What are the check-in process? What is your check-in process? Is it that your guest relations is answering the phone and checking someone in and papers all over the place? Or do they say, oh, welcome, Ms. Jones, we've been expecting you. You're here for your threads? By the way, we also have XYZ on offer, right? What experience do you have? Then the interactions, how many interactions do you have with your clients? Or are you only seeing them for the 15 minutes for your time, and then you have no idea what other people are actually recognizing them, finishing up the retail sale? And then the messaging. Where do you have messaging? So this is also your physical location, as well as the words you're using and the attitude that they come across. If your team does not represent your brand in how they look, in their passion and their pride, then your messaging and your experience is not going to be consistent, is not going to be what's going to get you to the $1 million and multi-million-dollar mark. And that's really our specialty, is getting you to that first 7 figures and then multiple 7 figures. All right, so make sure you look at what is my experience and how can I create the magic. I talked about Disney earlier. Every single touch point that people say is magic is actually a process, right? So when you go to Disney World and you get there in the morning, you're so excited, you unpack the car, you go run, you're out there for 6, 8, 10 hours, and then you have no idea where your car is. How does the parking attendant know where you parked every single time and gets you back to your car within 5 minutes? Well, it's because they open the parking lot section by section every half an hour. And you remember when you arrived at the park, just not where. So all they have to do is ask you, oh, what time did you come? And then they take you on the little cart, the Mickey cart or the Goofy cart, and then you're able to go home with fond memories saying, I spent so much money, but it was worth every penny. And that's what you want them to say about your experience at the medical spa as well. Wow, that was an investment, but look at me. It was worth every penny. All right. So how do you do that? Well, you need to know what you want. What is that experience? And then you need to train your team. And I know it's hard, you guys. That's why we are here as well. And that's why Empire is here, because training takes time. It takes investment. It takes preparation. You need the materials, you need the time, you need the knowledge, and then you need to reiterate with role play, assessments, etc. But if you don't take the time or invest in it with a company, then you are just putting out more memos that nobody's going to implement. So you have to train and follow up in order to achieve consistency, which is excellence in a guest experience. And that's what's going to reflect in your Google reviews. And make sure you also have all the materials. So you do the training, you have the materials so that it can be repeated time and time again. Do you know that airplanes, every single time a pilot takes off in an airplane, they physically fill out a checklist? Now, it's only 4 to 6 steps, but aren't you happy that they fill out that checklist every single time? Because one thing missed means lives, right? Now, for us, it may not, but you could affect someone's life if you misdiagnose, you mistreat. So make sure you have the training and you have the follow-up. All right, step 5, build your team culture. Now we've created the process, we've audited everything. Now we need to implement. And who are our star players? You should have A and B team players. So they should be rated at an A or a B. And if you haven't done an assessment of your team, now's the time because it's end of year. And this is where you can set your goals for them and help support them. A high-performing team is high expectations and high support. Not low expectations, not high expectations, low support. You need both, but you have to assess them. Once you do those evaluations, now you can set goals that they can meet and achieve. And then for end of year, you need to then celebrate. Celebrate your high performers. Retention is a challenge now, you guys. So recognition is really important. So celebrate those that have achieved. It's going to show the rest of the team what they need to do in behaviors and attitude to achieve that level and that recognition. And then plan for the future. If you're always in the green and you think your team can't do anything wrong, then that means they're going to get bored. So we need to set the next target. Starts with structure, so make sure you understand, is everyone in the right role? And each person should have their specialty role, and then they can support others. But if each person, namely yourself, is wearing too many hats, if you're wearing the marketing hat and the CFO hat and the provider hat and the guest relations hat, then you're never going to be able to move forward. So understand where you are and what you need to get to the next level. This is actually a scale strategy. So if you are thinking, I'm doing well, but I'm feeling a little at my capacity, then you need to look at this and say, okay, what area would be the investment that's going to get me to that next $250,000? And it's usually only just one person for $500,000 to another $1 million potential. And then communicate. This is always missed, but if you don't have your year-end meeting and then your every quarter meeting and then your daily meetings, then every day, because a day is very perishable, you're missing out on opportunities for revenue, for upgrades, for celebration and engagement, and therefore your 2025 profits. So make sure you establish and have an agenda. It's very, very important. Next is sharpen your leadership skills. So we talked about the structure and then the team, but what about you? If you're not spending time sharpening your skills, then your growth is going to plateau and then possibly decline. You're a member of Empire, so I know you are a growth-minded person, but make sure you're not just sharpening your clinical skills. You're a business owner or business leader. So make sure you're also sharpening your leadership skills. So we have another gift for you. This is our business assessment. We're going to drop this in the chat. And this is your opportunity to see where are all your strengths, how is your team doing, and I would take the time to assess yourself as well. And then if you want to provide us with the reports, we can help you with insights and where there might be gaps, because we don't know what we don't know, right? So you only know whether you're doing well or not in the areas that you've trained yourself on, the areas that you've already invested in. But there is a whole process to make sure you are continuing to grow and get to the next level. All right. And then what other trainings are possible? So there's different trainings based on different facets of what you may need. Legal, HR, mindset, sales, marketing. So understand once you do that assessment for yourself where your gaps are and where you might need to support yourself. Okay, you are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. So are you surrounding yourself with people that you work with, your team, your peers, or your mentors? And who are your mentors? So we're actually just starting this. It's a new series next year on HR because recruitment, retention, and compliance has become a big, big thing. So this is one where we're helping our members. So if you're interested, feel free to reach out, but make sure you know what areas you need to be investing in for yourself. Okay, so the 7 is set yourself your plan. Okay, so we went through all of your audit from your marketing, your sales, your financials, your team, your leadership. Now you need to set the plan for your success as well. And if you don't do that, then you're missing out on your own plan. You have to know what worked this year, what did not work, what's going to change next year, the landscape, and how can I invest in myself, my team, my process to reach the best level of success. And that's it. So what questions do you have? Yes.
So we have Dr. Lou who's saying they have a team of 6. Do you provide team training and or coaching?
Absolutely. So team of 6 is, you're kind of at that tipping point where now it's hard to manage everyone and still do all the things that you need to do. So that's actually our specialty. We have 2 tracks. So we have leadership training, that's all the strategy, setting the plans up, setting your budgeting, your marketing plan, etc. And then we have team trainings, both live as well as on MedSpa Biz University, pre-recorded. So you're able to actually follow the process with them, but you're not the one doing all the training. And that helps you leverage your time in the best way possible. So yeah, we set up all of your team, and then there's quizzes at the end so you can look at the assessment and then follow up and implement. So great question. What else? Yes, Tim.
June wants to know, do we offer training for consultations?
Yes, that is our sacred system. So it is the most, there's 4 core programs that we really want you to become masters at. The first is the consultation process. Well, actually, the first is the pride system. So that's how are you capitalizing on every visit, your upgrades, your home care. It's the lowest hanging fruit, you guys. The average in medical spas is less than 6-7%, and you really should be at 20-30% retail. So the pride system. Then the sacred system, which is what you're asking about. And that is how are you setting up your consultation area? What forms do you need? What is the scripting? What is the expectation of your high ticket programs? And then what's the opportunities? So another takeaway I'd love for you to have going into 2025 is once you do your audit and assessment of what has worked and what has not worked, what has worked, I want you to think 2-3 steps down the road. So what is my first idea? And if I capitalize on that, what's the next step? And what's the next step? And that's what the consultation process is head to toe. How are we creating a multi-$1,000, multi-area program based on the treatments that you offer and your expertise so that you become the only choice for your clients? So we have that whole program individually, and then we can leverage that into your whole membership as well. After that, then we have our guest relations, because that is your first and last touch point for the clients. And then the recurring revenue, the copy system. So those 4 things, if you don't have those locked in, then those are where you need to start for 2025. Very good. What else?
We have Kelly who says she's in a 1-room suite. So do I still do a get to know you consultation?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yes. That is how Shelby Miller got to her $1 million. And actually in the first year, she made it to $1 million off 1 suite in the first year. And it's because of the consultation process. So of course, if you're in a suite, you may not be able to separate the room from your injectables, but you can still usually separate that room into little areas. So you have kind of your selfie wall or your before and after picture wall, and that can be a more retail focused area. So you have your consultation there, then take them onto the chair and provide the service, and then have your retail shelves up. So you have the whole experience. So absolutely, you still need to have your consultation experience. Great question. What else? All right. Yes.
I have Cindy who's looking to expand her team, so she's asking if we can help with hiring and or the paperwork for hiring.
Yes. Actually, we have all the templates that you can need. So Empire Fowler probably feels the same way, but when you've been in business for a quarter century, you have seen it all and done it all. And for us, we've got the templates to prove it. So we have your whole position descriptions, position ads, your interview questions, your evaluation process. We actually call it the clarity hiring. So it takes a lot of time, you know this, in building your team. So don't waste it by going quickly and just say, oh, I just need a beating heart. I just need them to be breathing, right? That's not going to work. And it's going to waste your time and it's going to hurt your reputation. So you need to hire slow and fire fast. And if you do that, you're going to build the team that makes you be able to do what you want because they're helping grow your business and they're not draining your energy. So it's really, really important to do so. So yes, we have the whole process for that. And we actually, at our highest level of support, we do the interviews and the recruitment process. We present the compensation. We do the training. So we are your engine behind your brand as well. Good. All right. Okay. So I hope this helps you to implement your success in 2025 and finish 2024 off in the best way possible. If you do need help, first of all, once you do your business assessment that we shared with you, if you do need help in certain areas, please do send that to us so we can identify and we'll do an audit for you and see what are those leverage points that you need to focus on to be able to achieve your best success. This is from our Advanced Marketing Mastery events. So we do live events and then we do webinar virtual events. So next year we're going to do a lot of virtual and then a couple of masterminds in person as well. But it's really, really good. So, all right. If there's no other questions, it has been a pleasure. And please do, who's going to commit to implementing the 7 steps? Auditing and implementing. All right. Well, thank you so much. And until next time, stay inspired.